right, so when this $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill had first came to light, it was actually something decent in its entirety, and it was something to look forward to. It genuinely was. It had some good provisions in there, lower drug prices for Americans, something that Americans have been wanting for a long time. Free community college, that's great, and a plethora of other things. But quickly, the negotiations and the entire bill became a joke. And that might even be an understatement. I mean, I can't even find the words to describe not only what these negotiations are now. I'm not even going to call them negotiations anymore. These fucking talks, whatever it is, in this bill. I mean, the bill's just a piece of shit now. It's not worth the paper it's printed on, if it's even printed on paper. I mean, it's just completely trash. This is a tweet from Manu Raju here, a chief congressional respondent from CNN. He says, talks between Manchin and Biden are not going well on Build Back Better. Per source familiar with talks, a huge sticking point, the child tax credit. Manchin wants it cut. Source says he wants to zero it out. They are very far apart. And of course, that's echoed by this Washington Post article that details that Manchin seeks to terminate funding for the child tax credit payment as talks between the moderate holdout, the White House over the $2 trillion package is in new political peril. That's a title from a Washington Post article. The Democrats are currently fighting over the filibuster as well. They're trying to, I think, either eliminate it or reform it to pass voting rights. So get this. Oh, and by the way, in terms of the Build Back Better agenda, the Senate is expected to shelve it. This is from Jesse Rodriguez from NBC. They're going to shelve the Build Back Better bill to move forward aggressively on voting rights. Now, have the Democrats ever been aggressive on anything? What, since the days of like FDR or Lyndon B. J? Fuck no. Fuck no. They're aggressive to cut tax for the rich, the SALT tax. They're aggressive to drone strike innocent babies in Afghanistan. They're aggressive in throwing money at Israel's Iron Dome while Israel has universal health care and we don't. They're aggressive to start wars with China and Russia. Yeah, that's what they're aggressive to do. They're not aggressive to help the American people, if you've ever noticed that. No, not at all. Nope. Not aggressive to do that. Nope. Wanted lower drug prices? We'll do a compromise and give you lower drug prices on 10, but it won't be all that much lower, and it'll be over the course of 5 years. Get the fuck out of here. Aggressively on voting rights. Okay, so they're going to go aggressive on voting rights so they'll make it easier for the American people to vote their asses out of office because they've done such a terrible job so far. That sounds about right. Sounds about right. Excuse the rant that this kind of is. It isn't much of an analysis at all. Not that any of my videos are much of an analysis. It's just me speaking my mind and talking my opinion. But, I mean, that's what this is. That's what this is. These infrastructure negotiations have quickly become the biggest joke in comedic history. I mean, the Republicans have talking points for days. These people are trying to cut taxes for the richest people in blue states. The Democrats are. I mean, that's not to say the Republicans are any better. In fact, they're worse. But who gives a fuck at this point? I know a vast majority of American people don't. Want to know why? Because when they flock to the polls in the midterms and in the next election, guess who they're going to vote for? You already know. And it's this never-ending cycle. It's this never-ending pendulum swing. Vote for the Republicans. They come in, cause hardship, crash the economy. People get upset. They get fed up. Why are they cutting taxes for the rich? Why are they fueling the war machine? Democrats pop out of nowhere. Oh, hey, we have these promises that we're never going to deliver on. We'll lower drug prices for you. We'll, subsidize Obamacare, COBRA. Can't do universal health care or a public option, but we may raise the $15 minimum wage. We may not, but you vote us in. And that argument is sufficient enough because the people are so fed up with the Republicans, and they'll vote for the Democrats, and the Democrats will do in, and they'll do what's called neoliberalism, which is effectively what Joe Biden's administration is doing now. And the people will get so mad, and they'll go, you know what, fuck this. They'll forget what the Republicans did the previous 4 to 8 years or whatever, and they'll vote for them again. And then they come in. Then Democrats do the same shit, and the cycle keeps going. Have you noticed that we have a Democrat or Republican every 4 to 8 years? Nobody can seem to stay in office for a prolonged period of time. It's the same old shit, and it gets tiring. And it's because the system is corrupt. It's because the politicians have been bought and owned by corporations and the rich. It's because of corruption that nothing good gets passed, and it's an uphill battle. Look, man, good things do happen. I don't want to sound nihilistic and bleak, but the Buffalo Starbucks workers just unionized. The John Deere workers got a pretty good deal from their strike efforts. The workers are rising up and through their own way and methods that are nothing new, have been done throughout history for hundreds of years, are clawing their way to get some kind of benefits and positivity. And I'm extremely happy for them. But the acts by these politicians, by our feeble and useless president, I mean, it should be frowned upon to no end.